playing next week, aren't you?
Yes, we are.
The Liverpool O2. So I'm going to...
The O2.
What sort of drove you to pick up the guitar?
Status quo, Free, Jimi Hendrix, Led Zeppelin, all these bands that you would see on Top of the Pops and various other places during the late 60s and early 70s, I would imagine. I mean, I think I first recall seeing Quo on Top of the Pops about 1972 when I was 8, and that just blew me away. The hair, the sweat, the old Telecasters, and the fact that it was just relentless driving rock music. I just remember having a real fascination with the guitar. What actually happened was we emigrated to Canada in 1974. Yeah. My brother had a 9th birthday, and my mum and dad bought him a guitar, and after about 2 weeks he quickly tired of it. I kind of hijacked it off him and never looked back. Got my first electric guitar when I was 13 with money that I'd saved up from delivering milk in newspapers in my native Sunderland, and just gone on from there, really. So
is that you mentioned Status Quo? So I take it that's why you play the Telecaster then on stage.
Well, yeah, I mean, I love the simplicity of the guitar, the layout, the fact that there's a volume, a tone, 2 pickups, and a selector switch between the 2 of them. And frankly, if you can't play a guitar in its simplest form, which I believe the Telecaster is, I mean, it's still...
It's a real workhorse.
It's the earliest known mass-produced electric guitar, and he got it right first time. I mean, there's been little mods made to them over the years, but you just can't beat the Telecaster. And people like the Quo and Strummer, Hugh Cornwell even, people that played Telecasters are just, I don't know, there's some Springsteen, something just kind of captured the imagination about that guitar, and I've got a good half a dozen of them now.
Yeah.
So,
I funnily enough, I was interviewing Wilko Johnson on Saturday. I interviewed him in Buxton at a gig, and I love his black Telecaster.
Yeah, Wilko's on this tour with us, don't you?
Yeah, the black and blue.
He's one of the special guest acts that we've got, and I've never met him before, but JJ Burnell lived with him in London for a few months in 1977, and they were very good pals. Wilko's just something to behold. I've seen him play live a couple of times, though I've never met him. And the old blacks. There'll be 2 bald geezers on stage with the old black Telecasters, which I think will be an interesting evening.
Looking back, did you think you'd still be with them in 11 years? And you'd be such a reinvigorating effect on the band? Did you think that you'd have all of that?
Well, that's very kind of you to say that. I mean, to be honest with you, no, probably would be the honest and instant answer to that. I mean, as a musician, you just want. I mean, it sounds awfully corny and cliched when you say these things, but the fact remains, it's true. I just wanted to play, and I was. I mean, it's a well-documented story now, but I was offered the gig, and I initially turned it down because, I wasn't offered the gig. I was offered an audition, which I initially turned down because I'd just come back from many years on the road with the other band that I had at the time. And my wife, my then wife, she was thrilled to bits to have me back, at home. We had 2 kids by then. And so I didn't want to really rock the boat, so to speak. I mean, but when the Stranglers offered me the gig, after having toured with them on 2 occasions, as a support act, it was too good to be true. I mean, they're an iconic British band that'd been a part of my life right from my sort of early teens, and to be offered the opportunity to play in the band was just something that I couldn't turn down. And the missus gave me a blessing. I went to London, I got the gig on the spot, and 10 days later we were in Kosovo playing in a war zone for the troops. I didn't know how long it would last. Nobody knows how long these things are going to last. But all of a sudden, here we are, and it's been 11 years, as you say, and 5 years almost as singer. So we're just enjoying it. I mein, we're having an absolute ball, man. We're the gigs selling out fast. Everyone's up for it, and it's just really good. It's just a great vibe and a great time to be in the band.
How did it come about, how you became one of the chief songwriters?
Paul and JJ, I think, had attempted to write as a team. Paul used to write on his own and also with John Ellis. And I think JJ missed that vibe that he used to have with Hugh. I know for a fact that I was invited to join the band very much with songwriting in mind.
Right.
They would watch the Small Town Heroes, the band I was in, when we supported them. They would watch them from the side some nights, especially JJ. You'd see him down there watching the band and watching me. And he just kind of filed me away in this little mental, filing cabinet that he's got in his head. And when the time came for me to join, one of the very first things that I did after coming back from Kosovo, I've been in the band about a month, I got in my car and I drove down to his house in Cambridge, where he lived at the time, and we spent a week together, and it became very apparent right from the off that we could write songs together. He sensed initially that I was probably being a bit deferential to him, given who he is and the band and the track record and stuff, and probably he was a little bit polite. But once he just said, speak your mind, tell me what you think, put me at my ease, and ever since then we've never looked back, and I think we've written some really good tunes together over the last couple of albums.
Oh, definitely. One that stands out to me is a new one on the Decades Apart album, Retro Rockets.
Oh, you like that?
Oh, it's absolutely great. I love I Hate You and Spectre of Love as well. It's got a real vitality.
We seem to have, we're actually, as we speak, we're very much embroiled in writing songs for the next record as well. There's an album coming out in 2012. Don't ask me when, but it will be out. And at this particular juncture, we've got a real stockpile of really powerful, interesting individual songs, one of which, or maybe even two of which, will be aired at these gigs. We're going to play a brand new song and road test it. It hasn't even been recorded yet, apart from a demo. We think it's a winner, so we're going to go out there and we're going to stick it in the set and just see what people think. And there's a lot of songs like that. So it's been. I won't say it's getting easier because it's not necessarily getting easier. I would say it maybe is getting easier to find subject matter and to sit down and to actually start to collate these ideas. But obviously then they've got to be beaten into shape with Jet Black and Dave Greenfield. And that's when you really start to get the Stranglers stamp on these tunes. So we're everything's good in that department. We're really up for that,
Yeah. What would you say has been the highlight of the last 11 years in the Stranglers, though?
For myself?
Yes, for yourself, sorry.
There have been many. I think possibly the first highlight, or that I can think of, was when Norfolk Coast actually came out, and then I had something tangible that I was able to hold in my hand and say, well, if it all turns to rubbish, then at least I got to make one album with the Stranglers. Things like Glastonbury, that was rather a splendid gig, actually. I don't think any of us could have anticipated how that would have gone. Pretty special. It actually, the only damp squib about the whole thing was that we had a gig in Krakow in Poland the next day, and we had to leave, so we couldn't soak up any of the vibe, or hang around, which was a bit of a bummer. But it was a fantastic day. I'm pleased you enjoyed it anyway. Yeah,
it was great. It was so warm though, wasn't it? It was.
Yeah. Well, makes a change. Glastonbury, it's usually honking down with rain, and everybody's up to their armpits in mud. So it was quite nice. I think there was a few cases of overheating and what. I think there was a baby born there as well, actually.
Really?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, it was a very hot day. I was right in the middle, and it was. I thought I was going to die at one point.
Did it sound good?
I'll tell you what, I was absolutely blown away. Out of nowhere, like 70,000 people. It was I was shocked how rammed it was. It sounded absolutely amazing when you opened up with when you came on with the waltz.
Yeah.
It was great. It was absolutely great.
Oh well, that's superb. Apparently the year before, on the same spot as us, that Friday afternoon spot. I think it was Lady Gaga, and she had half as many. So,
yeah,
you know, we were quite pleased with that. It has to be said.
Yeah, it was absolutely fantastic.
That's all. That'll live long in my memory. It was just a fabulous day. We were treated with such affection and respect, not just from the audience, but from everybody backstage. I mean, you've got to remember, Jet Black is 73.
Yeah.
And he was, you know, people were just standing at the side of the stage agape, just couldn't believe it. All these bands standing there watching us. That was great. There's been some very memorable gigs all over the world, really. First visit to Japan for me, first visit to Australia, you know, those things. Yeah, there's been many highlights. Plus, they bought me a beautiful black Telecaster as a joining present when I joined. So
really?
That was,
that was good.
That was a highlight as well. Yeah.
What amp do you use, by the way?
I'm Marshall. I'm committed to Marshall. I did have a go in the when will this been early 90s of using Laney. We got an endorsement deal with the Small Town Heroes where Laney made some beautiful gear.
Yeah.
Very retro looking sort of.
Yeah, I've seen that.
And they were great. But then I always had my Marshalls in the cupboard.
Yeah.
And just with the Stranglers, you just need a little bit more power and a bit more stoke. And frankly, I don't think all you need is a Marshall 50-watt head, a Telecaster, and a lead. You don't need anything else, you know.
A good quote to end on as well. Well, I'll see you on the 8th in Liverpool.
You will indeed. We're there. And listen, if you're around, man, if you get an opportunity, come up and do say hello, won't you?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Thanks ever so much for taking the time.
Oh yeah, well, thank you for talking to me. It's been a pleasure. Absolutely.
As always, nice one.
All right, thank you.
All the best. Thanks, George.
See ya. Bye.
Bye-bye.